Today we're bridging a really massive gap. We're talking about the space between ancient, sacred history and cutting-edge modern science. The termite and the king, divine lessons in engineering and the unseen. This isn't just some story about the past. It's a remarkably precise look at how the natural world actually operates and how the absolute smallest of creations can totally humble the mightiest of empires. So let's dive into one of the most profound mysteries in history. We're looking at Prophet Solomon, peace be upon him. Now, he wasn't just a prophet. He was a king blessed with a kingdom literally unlike any other. So the central question we really have to ask ourselves today is this: how could a tiny creature weighing mere milligrams uncover a monumental secret that even the incredibly powerful jinn couldn't discover? To truly understand the weight of this event, we have to grasp the sheer, unimaginable scale of this kingdom. Just picture this vast domain. Prophet Solomon commanded not just human armies, but the wind itself. He understood the language of birds, and incredibly, the jinn worked directly under his command, constructing these magnificent structures and performing intensely difficult labor. Imagine a king with absolute, unparalleled dominion over both the seen and the unseen worlds. It's this vast power that makes the stark contrast of what happens next just completely mind-bending. Then there came a day when Allah decreed the death of Prophet Solomon. According to the Quranic account, his soul was taken while he was standing, leaning on his staff. But an extraordinary silence fell over reality because, well, no one realized he had died. The mighty jinn, who were laboring in fear and awe, just kept working. They were completely oblivious. Days passed, then weeks passed, perhaps even months passed, and that illusion of his living power remained entirely intact. And then comes the turning point. As it says so beautifully in chapter 34, verse 14 of the Quran, "Then when we decreed death for him, nothing informed them of his death except a creature of the earth eating away at his staff." Think about that. It wasn't an angel, a human, or a jinn that broke the illusion. It was a tiny termite, quietly eating away at the wood, bite by microscopic bite, until the exact moment the wooden staff weakened, snapped under the weight, and the king finally fell to the ground. This brings us to the exact creature chosen by Allah for this monumental task.
Part 1, Unmasking the Termites, a hidden civilization beneath our feet.
First off, we kind of need to reset our expectations here. When people hear the word termite, they usually just think, white ant. Actually, scratch that. Biologically speaking, termites are not ants at all. They belong to a completely different group of insects. And what's astonishing is that they live in these highly organized colonies, literally hidden cities beneath our feet, that can contain hundreds of thousands or even millions of individuals. They operate with terrifying precision, yet they are entirely commandless.
Part 2, a microscopic hidden ecosystem, the unseen machinery.
Now, under a 4K macro lens, the mechanical perfection of a termite is just astonishing. Their heads feature these highly sensitive antennae that function almost like radar to detect food and communicate. They have a distinct thorax and abdomen, and notice their specialized mandibles, engineered perfectly for chewing wood, while the soldier termites have these massive, powerful jaws strictly designed to defend the entire colony. But here is the ultimate biological twist. We just talked about their specialized jaws for chewing wood, right? Well, the shocking truth is that termites cannot actually digest wood on their own. If a termite just ate wood with its own biology, it would literally starve to death. So how on earth did this creature manage to consume the dense wooden staff of a king? Okay, so inside the gut of every single termite is an entire microscopic hidden world. First, the termite ingests the tough cellulose from the wood. Second, millions of microscopic organisms, bacteria and protozoa living inside them, attack the wood. Third, these tiny partners break the material down. And finally, the termite is nourished. It's a stunning invisible partnership. The creature that revealed the unseen truth to the jinn relies entirely on an unseen world inside its own stomach to even survive. Part 3, Master Engineers of Nature, the Looming Mounds. 8 meters, over 26 feet. To put that into perspective, in parts of Africa and Australia, these millimeter-long insects build towering structures that reach heights taller than a 2-story building. It is an absolute marvel of natural construction. And this brilliantly illustrates their mastery of engineering. Because the real miracle here isn't just the sheer size of the mound, it's what happens inside. Outside, the environment is total chaos.
blistering extreme heat during the day and freezing cold at night. Yet, if you measure the temperature inside the mound, it remains remarkably stable and perfectly climate-controlled.
They achieve this through a system that looks exactly like a modern architectural blueprint. It's a natural ventilation system. Step 1. Fresh air enters through lower chambers. Step 2. That air naturally flows through incredibly specific, carefully designed geometric tunnels. And Step 3. The hot air efficiently drafts right out of the top, pulling cool air back in. This is so efficient that modern architects have actually studied and copied termite mounds to design energy-efficient human buildings today. Mind-blowing, right?
Part 4. The Queen and her colony. The beating heart of the mound. Inside, you find a perfectly divided society: queens, soldiers, workers, and reproductives. Notice the flawless division of labor here. Remember, there's no one in a boardroom issuing commands. Yet every single termite, out of millions, knows exactly what to do instinctively to keep the whole shebang thriving. At the very center of all this is the queen. Her body expands dramatically, hundreds of times larger than an ordinary termite. Her sole purpose is to sustain this hidden city. She can lay thousands of eggs every single day, and she continues doing this for years. Millions of termites exist entirely because of this single, extraordinary beating heart hidden deep within the earth.
Part 5. Knowledge of the unseen. The divine lesson.
So look at how Allah's creation uses the invisible to govern the visible. On one hand, we have the visible elements, the mighty jinn laboring, the termite eating wood, those giant towering mounds. But on the other hand, we have the hidden realities actually driving them. The jinn were entirely oblivious to the reality of the king's death. The termite relies on invisible gut microbes to eat, and the giant mounds are regulated by unseen, sophisticated airflow. Everything visible is anchored by something completely hidden. And this brings us right back to the conclusion of that powerful verse from Quran 34:14. And when he fell down, it became clear to the jinn that if they had known the unseen, they would not have remained in humiliating labor. The absolute truth was finally revealed. Despite their massive power, the jinn realized that true knowledge of the unseen belongs exclusively to Allah. So if a creature weighing milligrams can expose the limits of empires and inspire modern engineering, what else might we discover when we truly observe the smallest of Allah's creations? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open, because the grandest lessons are often hidden right beneath our feet, just waiting to be understood.